Hi. Hi, Rusu. Hi, Jose. Hi, Mango. It's time for book club. Oh, hi. Yes, yes. Oh, hi. Oh, hi. Book club. Hell yeah. This is some music. This is creepy. I don't even really remember where we ended up. This is a lot. I've just been kind of sitting here in silence with this music going as I got ready. I'm just like, it's so creepy. I know that Shion snapped and killed her grandma. She locked Mion up. Probably time for him thinking last. I think we got a few more, if I can be honest. Because this is chapter 11. I'm pretty sure there's like 15 chapters. Hold on. I'm gonna go check real fast. Yeah, okay. I think... Okay. So, including this one, there's 4 chapters left. So, we're not quite done. I don't remember. It's weird. Like, she kind of hit all of her memories. Like, she just brainwashed us. I forget exactly what she was gonna be doing. As she locked Mion up, she killed her grandma, and she's trying to... She keeps hearing footsteps. She's definitely gone insane. Something. Revenge for Satoshi. Alright, let's get in there. I was having such a happy dream. Satoshi-kun was in the dream. He was leading his normal everyday life. He was back on the baseball team. Irie and I acted normally around him because we knew that's how mature people should act. We welcomed him back as if he had been there with us the whole time. Although he hits well in practice sessions, he still doesn't do well in the real game. Oh, come on, Satoshi-kun. 3 strikes already? I'm cheering for you. Then Satoshi-kun pouted as he mumbled. I felt tears pouring down my face. Oh. Satoshi-kun. Satoshi-kun. The happy dream faded out with my sobs. The harder I tried to focus, the faster it faded. Soon, it was all gone. I could see the bright morning sun through a crack in the curtains. I was in Mion's room at the Sonozaki house. When did I come back? I was crouching in the corner of my room and crying. A dream is a dream. I wish I hadn't woken up. But one must wake up from a dream. We live in a world where there are no dreams. That's why we always wake up. But I wasn't sure if I was the only one dreaming that dream. Because I felt like Satoshi-kun was right beside me. Satoshi-kun? Did you come back? There was no reply. That was the rule. If it was Satoshi-kun, I wish it'd smile at me just once. But Satoshi-kun's presence faded away, as if he were never there to begin with. I heard the phone ring by the front door. That's right. I was the only one in the house now. I had to answer it. I got up to walk to the front door. I felt unsteady, so I put my hand on the wall to support myself. I hardly got any sleep. It was like I had a bad cold. The phone continued to ring. I probably didn't have to answer it, actually. But I was still half asleep, and I could think of was answering the phone. Hello, Sonozaki residence. Sorry to call you so early. It's Kimiyoshi. Is your grandma still sleeping? It was Uncle Kimiyoshi. She is, yeah. I guess she's still tired from yesterday. I think I'll let her sleep in. Yeah, you probably should. Mion-chan, you're gonna go to school though, right? Can I leave a message with you? Sure. What is it? Let's see. There will be an emergency meeting regarding the incident from yesterday. It'll be at the Shrine's Assembly Hall, starting at 5 p.m. Did you get all that? Yes. I'll give her the message. As soon as I put the phone down, it rang again. Hello? Sodozaki residence? Good morning. I'm sorry to call so early. This is Kasai. Is this Mion-san? Good morning. Kasai-san. Good morning. Is Shion-san still there? I wasn't panicked, but I hesitated. I could tell him no. Or I could play both Mion and Shion. Shion was washing her face just now. I'll get her for you. I decided to play two parts. I went back and forth down the hallway and picked up the phone again. Kasai? Good morning. Good morning, Shion-san. Are you going to go to school today? Of course not. I feel miserable. I kind of expected that. By the way, how are you getting back to Okinomiya? I can have someone come pick you up. I think I can get a ride from Uncle Kimiyoshi or somebody else. Don't worry, I'll figure out something. Your father told me to make sure you go to school often enough. I'd appreciate your cooperation. I'll go when I feel like it. By the way, Kasai, did you hear? About what? You know, the incident last night? Yes, I have. How truly horrifying. All the past victims were war criminals from the dam conflict, right? But it's different this year. What do you think about it? I don't really know. Kasai wasn't the type to talk too much. If it was about something complicated, he usually responded like that. Do you know why those two fell under the curse of Ayashiro-sama? No. I heard this last night. Supposedly, they snuck into the ritual storehouse during the festival. They used a metal wire or something to unlock the door. Kasai went silent for a while. I held my breath while he waited to see how he responded. I expected him to say he couldn't believe those people were chosen as victims just for sneaking into the storehouse. I expected him to say that it was just too unrealistic. I see. That was stupid of them. Since Tomitaki-san was an outsider, I bet he didn't know. I went along with Kasai, but I felt disturbed on the inside. Kasai didn't wonder why breaking into the ritual storehouse would justify their deaths. I'd known Kasai for a long time, which is why I knew there was a heavy meaning to what he said. By the way, Kasai, actually, I did it too. Did you go in? Yeah. You went into the ritual storehouse. Shion-san? Yeah. Takano invited me. Takano-san, Tomitaki-san, and... remember Keiichi, who just moved here recently? Him and me? It'd make 4 of us. I heard Kasai saying heavily. Even though he didn't say a word, I could tell he was shocked. I'd never known him to act this way before. Shion-san, don't you remember what happened last year? How do you think you can take care of this? Last year it was 3 nails, so... 5 this year? Sorry. I wasn't trying to make light of the situation. I knew I shouldn't have done it. I regret it a little. But is it really that terrible of a thing to do? You are related to the Sonozaki main family. Do you really think people would understand? But I've been living in Okinomiya all my life. Since the hag hated me, I've barely ever been to Hinamizawa. Besides, I was stuck at school. How would I know about any of that? I heard another sigh from Kasai. That sigh told me my excuses would be useless. Hi, Muffin. Welcome in. Shion-san, I am your ally. I want to support you as much as I can, but there are dangers even I can't protect you from. Besides, sorry, Sis is here. I gotta go. I'll see ya. I interrupted Kasai and hung up. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear Kasai reject me. He who had been my ally all my life. Shit. Damn it. I could hear the sound of the cicadas. The sound made it feel like I was being cooked on a huge frying pan, making a sizzling noise. I couldn't help but feeling remorseful. Now I knew that sneaking into the ritual storehouse wasn't a laughing matter. But I really didn't know it at the time. Sure, the door was locked, so they didn't want anyone to go in. Then why did they change the lock? What did they say? I think it was Rika-chama that said the previous lock was too heavy for her, so they had to change it to a cheap one? That was how Takana-san broke in. If the heavy lock was still there, then it wouldn't have even happened. I slapped my own forehead. Then I took a deep breath. I had to calm down. What was the point of fussing now? I'd already passed the point of no return. There was no use in thinking otherwise. The hag was already dead. Even if she wasn't, she was now at the bottom of the well. Therefore, it was already past the point where I could just cut my fingers off in an apology. I felt so unstable. I'd walked on the fence around the swings at the park before, but if I was walking on a tightrope, it was fun because even if I fell, it was only a short distance. But it wouldn't have been fun if I were up really high. At the very moment, I was in fact already on that tightrope, and it was a lot higher than the fence at the park. As soon as I took a step, the rope behind me would vanish. I couldn't step back because there was nothing behind me. That was, in short, the current situation I had found myself in. Just standing in one spot was all I could do. Even if I never took another step, I'd fall if I wasn't careful. If I forced myself to walk, the danger would only increase. But if I didn't move, I would fall eventually. I couldn't see what was ahead of me. There was no guarantee that I'd ever find firm ground. But if I stopped, there was only one fate awaiting me. I have to move onward. If staying here guaranteed death, then I'd rather try to walk, even if I die as a result. Even if there was a dead end ahead of me, at least I tried my hardest. In general, I try to be optimistic. I could accept my life not lasting particularly long, but I wouldn't go easily. I'd struggle as much as possible. I'd already killed the hag. For that, there could be no other punishment than death. I knew my life would end soon. In other words, I was actually already dead. A dead person has nothing to lose. That means I can only go on the offensive. I clenched my fist tightly as I muttered. Even if I had to die, I couldn't die easily. This was my chance to avenge Satoshi-kun. Who did it? For what purpose and why? I was going to investigate. I was going to question. I was going to expose. Yes, I was going to settle the score. I'd carry out the plan I came up with yesterday. I could hide the hag's death somehow. All I'd have to say is that she hadn't been feeling well since Watanagashi. I could do it while pretending to be Mion. Just in case her friends at school became suspicious. Maybe I'd start telling them I had been feeling well either. In fact, I felt groggy from the lack of sleep. When I became Mion, Shud would automatically disappear. I'd already told Kasai that I snuck into the shrine storage, so I'd probably end up telling people that I was deemed away due to the curse of Oyashiro-sama. The last person I'd think about was the fourth one who'd snuck into the ritual storehouse, Keiichi Maibara. Maybe I can use him as bait and lure out the enemy. Sorry, Kei-chan. You're gonna have to be my bait. I felt a little bad since I was starting to like him. With all that figured out, let's go to school. I'd gone to school as Mion before, so I knew how things worked. It was almost time to leave the house. Mi-chan! You're late! Ha 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 ha! You waited? You should have just gone ahead. Hey, Mion. Your face is all red. You're breathing really heavily, too. Mi-chan, are you not feeling well? Rina put her hand on my forehead. Rina, your hand's pretty cold. Mi-chan, you're a little bit warm. It's no big deal. Give it half a day, I'll be fit as a fiddle. Are you really okay? You didn't have to push yourself, you know. What's this? Kei-chan, are you worried about me? Aw, that's so nice of you. I always thought he was a goofball, so I was a little surprised. I thought that he would tease me, but he didn't. I just think you shouldn't push yourself too hard. We can tell the teacher you had to take the day off. I'm fine. I took some medicine. I think it's already working. Okay, let's go. Don't overdo it, but of course there's the time. Huh? We need to run or we won't make it. This morning got pretty thrilling. Maybe it's just what I needed to shake off this sluggishness. Let's run. President, if you would. Everybody stand up. At attention. I'd made the same mistake before. I never learned, do I? Do you think Mei-chan is doing okay? She doesn't look good. Oh, really? How unfortunate. It was a good idea to make them believe I was sick. Even if I did things a little differently from Yon, I had an excuse. Well, you know, girls have those days where they just don't feel well. Are you fucking serious? They followed me here? The fucking motorcycles? Damn. Okay. I don't have those days. Nippa. Mion's friends kept each other occupied and left me alone. Keiichi Maibara. He might suddenly disappear one day. I couldn't let that happen. That would be like letting a fish take the bait and swim away while I was fast asleep with the fishing pole in my hands. I couldn't miss the moment the enemy took a bite out of Keiichi. I had to be very careful. But it was impossible to keep my eyes on him 24 hours a day. Spying on him at school like this wasn't good enough. Should I have him meet with Shion and let her explain that he's in danger? Maybe we could set up some sort of strategy together. I didn't think Keiichi realized how serious a crime it was to step into that ritual storehouse. I hadn't, after all. Since last year, all the incidents that were related to the curse had probably been investigated in secret. People involved in the three families would know about the incident from last night, but Keiichi shouldn't know anything. If he knew where he stood now, he'd be more cautious too. That would make him more aware of his surroundings, and maybe he would notice if anything odd took place. The teacher caught him sleeping, so he ordered him to go wash his face. He walked out into the hallway. I was pretty sleepy too. I had to be alert, but I couldn't clear my mind due to the lack of sleep. I decided to go home early. Since I'd been pretending to be sick since the morning, my request was approved. As I exited the building, I saw Keiichi washing his face. I thought you'd be out here. It feels better outside, huh? Mion? No cutting class now. It looked like it felt refreshing for him to wash his face with cold water. I washed my face too. But it didn't feel as good as it looked. Mion, how is your cold doing? You're sleepy because of the medicine, not from lack of sleep, yeah? Actually, this is a secret, but after the festival yesterday, I got wrapped up in the party my relatives were having, and, well, I may have had a bit... Gulp. I pretended to drink with an invisible glass. Are you hungover? How old are you? Keiichi exaggerated his reaction, but he still seemed worried. Okay, later. I'm gonna go back. Be careful on your way home. And don't wobble into a sewer or a brook. Alright? Got it? Keiichi turned around to go back into the classroom. Oh, one more thing, Kei-chan. I stopped Keiichi. He, in response, turned around. What's up? This may sound weird. And don't think too hard about it. Well, depends on what it is. Last night, near the end of the festival, did you see Tomotaki-san or Takano-san anywhere? I noticed Keiichi's body tense up. His reaction proved that he felt guilty about sneaking into the ritual storehouse. He was frightened that Mion Sonozaki might know about it. I guess this was enough to give him a certain impression of Mion Sonozaki. You know Toмотaki-san and Takano-san, don't you? You remember, Kei-chan, when the four of you were talking about during the setup of that day before? I could clearly see how dismayed Keiichi felt. He was trying to come up with an excuse. I can't remember. I might have seen them, or not. He was both a bad liar and a bad actor. He wasn't really that intelligent after all. Well, that would make him suitable as a friend for Mion. He was just a brat, unlike Satoshi-kun. Although when it came to lying and acting, Satoshi-kun was about the same level. Maybe Keiichi should be credited for at least trying to tell a lie. Satoshi-kun wouldn't have even said a thing. I didn't need to be thinking about him right now. I see. Then, one more question. On the same night, did you see Shion? That was a very mean question. Keiichi was perplexed, as I expected. Didn't you ask me that yesterday? I think I told you I wasn't sure if I had or not. Huh? I asked him yesterday. He must have meant that Mion Sonozaki asked him that question. In other words, she asked him that after he left the storehouse and got back together with his friends. Damn you, Mion. When I asked her, she said she had no idea we went to the ritual storehouse. Shit. Did you? I guess I just thought I'd get a different answer if I asked again. Why are you so intent on knowing if I did or not? He was getting defensive. Keiichi couldn't hide his panic as he flared up at me. It's not important. It's just there are some people. We're speaking poorly of Toмотaki-san and Takano-san, Shion and you, Keiichi-kan. Kei-chan. I didn't really hear what they were saying, though. Keiichi was really perplexed now. This wasn't fun at all, but it could be an interesting game. I don't believe that you were doing something bad. I just wanted to ask a bit about it, so I did. I'm sorry for making you so uncomfortable, okay? I made sure Keiichi felt a sense of crisis, then I left. Nobody can tell us apart. We're Mion and Shion, the perfect twins. When I returned to the Sonozaki house, I saw a woman with an apron on. It was a housekeeper. Her name was Shimiko-san. The Hague had a few housekeepers who took care of the chores around the house. Ah, Mion-chan, I'm glad you're here. Hey, Shimiko-chan. Can I help you? Today was her turn to come help out at the house. She'd arrived, but the gate was locked, and she couldn't get in. She called, but there was no answer, so she had been just standing there not knowing what to do. Something must have happened to Granny at the festival. She's been in an evil mood ever since last night. Ah, I see. Shimiko-san tried to remember if she had done something wrong. She isn't ignoring you, she's just sleeping. She was up really late, so I bet she just can't wake up yet. You know how she is, right? Once she gets into this mood, it'll take a long time for her to be happy again. Yes, that's too bad. I think it might be better that you don't show up for a while. Even if you don't mean to upset her, Granny might take it the wrong way. Just let me take care of it. I see. Are you sure? I'm very grateful, though. I'm sorry to make you do this, but could you let the other housekeepers know that they don't need to come for a while either? When Granny feels better, I'll give you a call. So let's just leave her alone for now. Shimiko-san bowed and left on her bicycle. Anyone who had ever experienced Granny's wrath would understand. I headed into Mion's room, set her alarm for 2 p.m. and crawled into her bed. I needed to recover, and quickly. I had to be sharp, calm, and cool-headed. School would be out by 2. Maybe I'd get in touch with Keiichi. I'd have to call him. There would also be a staff meeting at the Fruity Shrine Assembly Hall that evening. All the leaders of the 3 families, their relatives, and the town council members would gather at the meeting. They were all authority figures in Hinamizawa. I'd be attending in place of the hag who was sick. I'd worry about the rest when I got there. People should notice that Mion and the hag were missing for a long time. I didn't need to worry, as I had plenty of time. I checked the alarm once more. Then fell asleep as if someone had switched me off. Hello? Ah, this is Sonozaki. Well, the younger one. Hello. Do you have time to talk right now? Shion? I thought you'd be sleeping in today with a hangover, same as Mion. What? My sis had a hangover? That's so like her. Keiichi had no idea that Mion, how you saw it earlier, was actually me. He didn't notice when I talked in person, so there's no way he's going to notice on the phone. I never knew that playing two roles would be so much fun. To feel such enjoyment in the game of life or death. Maybe I was getting used to this kind of situation. Or maybe my senses had gone numb. Whoops, sorry. My parents are waiting for an important call, so I can't talk too long. What do you need? Well, there's something I wanted to talk about, but if we can't talk long, I guess that's that. How about we meet in person? If you could show me where the library is, that would be great. You mean the public library near the station? Yeah, that's fine. I go past there on my way to work sometimes, anyway. We decided to meet in Okinomiya. It wasn't easy to get there from Hinamizawa, but I had to hurry. I couldn't run into Keiichi as he was heading there himself. I recall that the key to the hag's motorcycle was in her secret drawer. The hag usually got driven around by public events, but when she got her own errands, she rode her motorcycle. Oh, hello, otaku anime lover. Welcome in, welcome in. Keiichi arrived quite a bit later than me. Motorcycles are faster, after all. There were hardly any traffic lights to worry about on the way there, either. Wow, Mio never keeps her appointments. I mean, honestly. Making my sister the standard for everything will get you in trouble. You're a little unsteady. You were drinking last night too, weren't you? Don't try and hide it. You definitely went home from school early. How are you doing today? I'm excited to get my new Hatsune Miku. Oh, that's so exciting. Nice. I'm doing okay. How are you doing? Oh, too bad. I've been at home all day from the beginning. I'm smarter than my sis, after all. Hey, now. I don't think you can call playing hooky smarter. You shouldn't finish your errand first. We don't have that much time. We're gonna go to the library, right? Yeah, thanks. My mom had to return some books today. Is the library far? No, it's right nearby. I meant it when I said he didn't have much time. I had to hurry a bit. I was just gonna talk to him on the phone, but I ended up coming all the way to Okinomiya. After our talk, Keiichi would slowly head back to Hinamizawa on his bicycle. I'd have to rush back there while making sure I didn't run into him. Otherwise, I couldn't make it on time for the meeting. Maybe I could be a little late, but since I needed to hear everything they were going to discuss, I didn't want to be. This was the Shishibone Public Library. It was a sizable, filled with a collection of moldy, smelly books. But they did have air conditioning, so it was quiet in there. It was a perfect place when you wanted to be alone. After Sakoshi-kun disappeared last year, I came here a lot to think about various things. This is where I first met Takano-san. I didn't want to run into her with Keiichi in tow. But then I remembered that she was already dead. The first floor of the building was occupied by government offices. The library itself was on the second floor, so we had to walk up the huge staircase to get there. I tasted cool air in my skin as soon as I walked through the automated door. Unlike outside, it was very quiet in here. The room temperature was both comfortable and suitable for books. I could smell the scent of the old pages. All libraries smell the same. Keiichi walked up to the return table after he'd said so. Because it was a weekday, there was hardly anyone around. It really was really quiet. I was going to go chat around some ordinary things, and then move on to the main subject. After Keiichi returned the books, I invited him to the intersection of the library. Keiichi knew Mion well, but he didn't know me at all. He showed me an interest in our life story. This is exactly where Takano-san told me about the true history of Hinamizawa a year ago. I was about to tell Keiichi about things that were very similar to that. Did God have a sense of irony? Now that you mention it, that toy store looked like it was managed by my relatives as well. Does that mean they operate the Angel Mort too? I told them the reason why the Sonozaki family was so powerful in this area. I assumed that since Keiichi came from the city, there was a good chance he couldn't even begin to understand how one old family could literally control an entire area. Unless I explained to him how powerful the Sonozaki family was, he wouldn't understand what kind of danger there was barreling towards him. The family is particularly strong in the finance and real estate. Even a lot of members of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry either have the last name Sonozaki or are their relatives. There are Sonozakis in the city council, the prefectural assembly too, since they have the Okonomiya area giving them strong electoral power. Wait a minute. This is all escalating really quickly. Your relatives operate shops in downtown Okonomiya, and they're especially strong in finance and real estate? On top of that, a lot of people in the Chamber of Commerce and Industry are relatives, and there are even more elected to local offices? Keiichi continued on his fingers. He was clearly surprised to hear all about the Sonozaki family. It seemed he was flexible enough to accept even something that sounded outrageous to him. He was starting to understand things, although slowly. The way he viewed Shion Sonozaki was changing a little too. That should be enough background info. Now I could go to explain about Mion Sonozaki, the successor. Then I'd change the subject, like Takano-san did with me. I'd go on and talk about the curse of Oyashiro-sama, and then the series of mysterious deaths. So then, the Sonozaki family, it's pretty famous in this area. Yep. Crazy, isn't it? A fat man with a cigarette suddenly cut into our conversation. Oshi? Why was he here? Hello, and good afternoon. Are you on a date today? And what I wouldn't give to be young again. If you thought we were on a date, then why are you bothering us, Oshi-san? What timing? It couldn't be a coincidence. I knew this man too well. He was crafty, sly, and clever. His presence here just can't be a coincidence. You fucking wish there was a book of Oshi. You fucking wish, bro. Did he see us come in somewhere in the town and follow us? But why? Did he need something from me? Keiichi, or perhaps the both of us? From what I could guess, I didn't think it was me that he wanted something from. It was almost like he was trying to keep Keiichi away from me. Oshi was aware I gave false testimonies to protect Satoshi-kun last year. Maybe he didn't think I could talk to Keiichi if I was around. Why did Oshi need to talk to Keiichi? It must be the incident from yesterday. I'm sure there are plenty plainclothes officers at the festival, so they had to leave seeing who was the last of the victims. In other words, Keiichi and me. But Oshi knew I was hard to deal with. That was why he was focusing on Keiichi at present. Why did he have to show up at a time like this? Maibara-san, right? You're one tough guy. Two-timing the Sonozaki sisters, are you? No, I'm not two-timing anyone. Keiichi looked at me, hoping for assistance. He blushed. The way he panicked reminded me of Satoshi-kun. That aside, this wasn't going well. Oshi might even start talking about the relationship with Satoshi-kun. I didn't want him to, nor did I want Keiichi to have my preconceptions. Oshi took a quick glance at me. His eyes told me something. He was purposely talking about the things I'd rather not talk about. He was basically telling me to leave, or he'd continue on to something that was worse than what they were currently talking about. He didn't use words, but his eyes clearly communicated that anyway. Damn, that big, fat weasel. I'm sorry, Kei-chan. I really do need to get to my job. Huh? Oh, you do. I realized that I wouldn't achieve anything like this, even if I stayed longer, so I used my part-time job as an excuse to leave. Oshi looked at me and grinned. Damn it. You won today, but I will win next time. Wait, didn't you have something to talk about today? Shun? Yep, I'll see you later. Oh, I'll give you a call after I'm done. It'll be okay to call at night, right? Yeah, probably okay. Then, I'll talk to you later tonight. Bye. Ooh. The Hag's motorcycle had become my primary means of transportation. My next stop was the staff meeting at the Furude Shrine's assembly hall. It was easy to imagine how a normal meeting would play out if it was just celebrating the end of Watsunagashi, but today's staff meeting was likely going to be as strained as the Sonozaki family councils. Yes, the staff meeting was going to deal with the heart of Hinamizawa. Couldn't let my guard down even for a moment. That's wild. She says bye the same way you do. I know, it's crazy, right? It's like we're the same person. I rested for a while at the house, then left for the meeting. I walked up the long stairs to the Furude Shrine. At the top, I saw some elderly men smoking in front of the hall. Since they had a minor fire a long time ago, it had been made into a non-smoking area. Is that Mion-chan? The head of the Kimiyoshi family, Uncle Kimiyoshi, noticed me and waved. He must not have expected Mion to come along. Normally it would have been either the Hag by herself, or Mion tagging along as an assistant. Granny's been in a terrible mood since the incident last night. She's been staying in bed and won't even let me near her. They all understood how troublesome she was in a bad mood. They smiled bitterly in sympathy. So you're here as the Sonozaki family representative, then? Has Oryo-san told you anything? Sort of. What did he mean, has Oryo-san told you anything? That line by itself didn't explain much. The staff meeting was usually led by the mayor, the head of the Kimiyoshi family. And he'd asked me, as the substitute for Sonozaki family head, if I'd heard anything from her. I then realized who was supposed to be the head leader today of the staff's meeting. Kimiyoshi-san, do you really have to lead the meeting today? According to the ranking order of the family councils, any substitute for the Sonozaki family head is above Kimiyoshi family head. In other words, I'd have to lead today's meeting. There was no way I could do that. Don't worry, I'll do it. You can just take a seat, Mion-chan. If there's something you've heard from Rari-san, just let us know, okay? Kimiyoshi-san, why don't we get started? Everyone's here now. The smokers put out their cigarettes and went back into the hall. The tables were set in a horseshoe shape, and I was told to sit next to the chair reserved for the chief. The seat opposite mine was empty. Considering this location, it was probably for the Furude head, Rika Furude. But somebody had said earlier that everybody was already here. Either Rika-chama had called in absent, or the empty seat was just a formality. Knowing the subject of the meeting, I don't think the Furude family head would even want to attend. Even if Rika-chama actually attended, she wouldn't be able to say anything. All she'd usually do at the Sonozaki family councils was draw pictures on a notepad. She would probably end up drawing pictures in this meeting too. Besides, they probably didn't want her to hear anything unpleasant. In this way, the empty Furude family seat was easily explained. When everyone was seated, the head of the Women's Association served tea. She gave me an evil look, trying to tell me to help out. I got up, so I did. After that, everyone fell quiet, and the secretary stood up. Everyone, thank you for coming today on such short notice, despite your busy schedules. Let's start with a few words from the mayor. Go ahead, please. Please excuse me for staying seated. Ken-chan, you stay seated too. And thank you to all for coming today. Also, you all did great job at the Watsunagashi yesterday. The festival was a great success, as usual. There weren't any mishaps. Lots of villagers came, and I believe it went great, as a whole. Let me see, how many people was it? According to the Imperial General's headquarters report, approximately 5,000 people showed up. Wahaha! Everyone laughed except me. I hope we'll continue to work hard to carry on this tradition. I appreciate your cooperation. And applause with only 8 people doesn't sound so great. Alright, let's move on to today's proceedings. Kimiyoshi-san will lead the meeting today. Please applaud if you approve. Yeah, pachi, pachi, pachi. Thank you. Then, with your approval, Mayor Kimiyoshi will take over. Please go ahead. Thank you, Ken-chan. Let's start now. Sorry. Could you close the curtains? Everyone closed the curtains nearest to them. The sun was still up, but with all the curtains closed, the room became dark. The village chief explained the details of the incident, as well as what went to the police. A police vehicle discovered Toмотaki-san's body on its way back to Okonomiya last night. Oshi's special curse unit was standing by, expecting something to happen for the 5th time, so they responded quickly. Since Toмотaki-san and Takano-san were rarely apart, Oshi got in touch with the neighboring prefectural police departments and asked them to look for her. As a result, they found her burned body of a woman in the mountains of the Gifu prefecture, and the body was then identified as Mio Takano. Considering the circumstances, the police ended up labeling the incident as the 5th of the ongoing series of mysterious deaths. When he finished, there was dead silence. I watched to see who would speak first. Nobody said a thing. Then I noticed Kimiyoshi-san was looking at me. This is where the head of the Sonozaki family would speak. Byon-chan, has Oryo said anything about this whole thing? Everyone looked in my direction. I was sure they could see the hag in me. I'm Mion Sonozaki, acting head of the Sonozaki family. I'm here in place of Oryo, the current head. Thank you for having me. I became Mion. I tried to become as cold as I'm feeling as Mion witnessed a year ago. That cold version of Mion was inside me. That was me. I was her. Unfortunately, the curse of Yashiro-sama has come to pass for a 5th time. This is deeply regretful. Everyone was held captive by my words. I wasn't a little girl anymore. The hag was speaking through my mouth. They all heard me and trembled in fear. Does anyone know why the curse happened again this year? After my question, everyone whispered to each other. I'll tell you. It was because they broke the rule of the ritual storehouse and desecrated the sacred grounds within. How dare they? A few elderly men got up and yelled, "The fools! I can't believe this! They deserve to be killed! Oh, Yashiro-sama, please calm your anger! Oh my, how did it happen? Oh, Yashiro-sama. This is why we hate outsiders. They just don't think. They're just so stupid. They got what they deserved. It was their own faults." The angry old men yelled, even as they trembled in fear. Their sudden change scared me a little. Even Uncle Kimiyoshi, who was usually so gentle, so sweet, became like a demon of war, cursing those who broke the rule of the ritual storehouse. It had become like a raging ocean inside the assembly hall. Their yells spun about like a whirlpool. They roared, crashed, and howled. Even while doing nothing but watch, I could feel myself turning pale. What I saw before me was so similar to that. Even the sweet and gentle Uncle Kimiyoshi was saying that they deserved to die. I was fearful of the sudden change in those elderly men. More than anything, the fact that they all believed that those people deserved to die for trespassing is what terrified me. It wasn't just that, of course. The real thing I was scared of was that I was one of the people they wanted dead. In other words, it was almost like they were telling me to die of the curse. If they were to find out I snuck into the ritual storehouse, it was very possible that they would strangle me on the spot. Actually, they might not kill me that easily. By then, I was certain. The people in this room were true believers in Oyashiro-sama, just like the hag. They wouldn't hesitate to murder whoever made Oyashiro-sama angry on his behalf. Even if they didn't carry out the killing themselves, they would pretend they didn't see anything. Yeah. Not even in my head was cut off right in front of them. Everyone here would act in collision and say I never attended today. If they all testified they waited and I didn't show, I'd be demoned away. It would be far too easy for them to erase someone and have them disappear. There was no mistake. The people linking the hag and the curse were definitely here at this meeting. I continued speaking. I was Mion Sonozaki. I was on the side responsible for the curse. Therefore, at that moment, I didn't need to worry about anything. Nobody could tell the difference between Mion and me. That's what would keep me safe. Please, be silent. Hey, quiet down. Uncle Kimiyoshi helped me out to quiet everyone, but his tone was violent and it really scared me. Everyone gradually became silent. In fact, it was 4 people who snuck into the storehouse. 2 more remain. People once more became restless upon hearing that, but Uncle Kimiyoshi yelled at them again to settle down. Toмотaki-san and Takano-san were old enough to be made responsible for their poor judgments. As a result, the curse of Higurashi-sama fell upon them immediately. The other 2 were simply children. The curse has yet to fall upon them, but there will be some kind of punishment. Everyone was quiet at the time. They had all turned genuinely pale, tried not to miss a word I said. After all, they were thinking that the kids I mentioned could be their own relatives or even grandchildren. They wanted to know who they were, to put their minds at ease. The other 2 who snuck into the ritual storehouse were Shion Sonozaki and Keiichi Maibara. I could feel the air getting drier. It was so dry it almost felt like it was going to start making a crackling noise. Shion Sonozaki has... already. I couldn't even hear the old people breathe. I took a peek at Uncle Kimiyoshi, who was sitting next to me. He had adored Shion as if she were his own granddaughter, but she had been deemed away. I wanted to see how distressed and sad he'd look. And when I saw his face, I felt sensation on my back, as if my skin itself were making a cracking noise. He didn't even have an expression on his face. Uncle Kimiyoshi adored me. I loved him, and I thought he loved me too. That was why I expected him to be sadder after learning that I had met such a cruel fate. What was I thinking? The memory of his warm smile shattered inside me. There was no way of describing the fear I experienced in that moment. In mere words, he had suddenly changed into someone I didn't even recognize. Uncle Kimiyoshi noticed me looking at him and spoke. What about Keiichi Maibara? Not yet. I had to take a deep breath and regain my composure. All 4 who snuck into the ritual storehouse will suffer the curse of Higurashi-sama. Keiichi Maibara is no exception. Chilling looks, cruel looks, emotionless looks, shrewd looks, and the looks of people who were about to snap. I could feel the demons chewing on my words while they stared at me with their sharp eyes. I could see some of them sticking their snake-like tongues in and out. I could see flames in some of their eyes. They were mesmerized by the names of the intruder and the curse who had yet to fall upon. And so, the meeting went on. We were told not to tell the police too much, to report what they asked us, and we had to hold another meeting whenever something significant happened. If something unexpected took place, we were to get in touch with either the head of the Kimiyoshi family or the head of the Sonozaki family for instructions on what to do. With those closing remarks, the meeting was over. It was already getting dark outside. Being in a valley surrounded by mountains, once the sun went down in Hinamizawa, it got dark quickly. Even if it was hot during the day, it cooled down quickly at night. The elderly people said goodbye to each other and left on their bicycles or their motorcycles or in their own cars. Uncle Kimiyoshi waved to them goodbye and started to head home himself. I called out to him, "Kimiyoshi-san, do you have plans after this?" I called him Kimiyoshi-san instead of Uncle Kimiyoshi. He stopped. "Oh, no, I don't have anything planned. Could you stop by my house?" "Does Oreo-san want to see me?" "Yes. She wants to talk to you about something in person." "Okay, I'll stop by." Uncle Kimiyoshi arrived at the Sonozaki house. He often came to the house to have secret meetings with the hag, so he wasn't suspicious at all. I invited Uncle Kimiyoshi into the living room. I served him a cup of tea and told him I was going to go fetch the hag. I left the room and killed some time down the hallway. Granny will be here after she gets dressed. She might take a little while. Oh, that's alright. I'll just wait. Uncle Kimiyoshi relaxed as he sipped his tea. I sat next to him. I think she wants to talk to you about Shion. I mentioned my name and watched for a reaction. Uncle Kimiyoshi looked so grim. I couldn't even tell if he heard me. I decided to continue speaking until he reacted in some way. You remember the incident from last year's Shion, yes? She became friendly with people from the Hojo family. She was forgiven after ripping out her nails, wasn't she? Yes. 3 nails. Uncle Kimiyoshi folded his arms and thought for a while. Where is Shion-chan now? In the basement. How's she doing? Uncle Kimiyoshi sounded worried. When I heard that, I felt relieved that Uncle Kimiyoshi was on my side. His anger in the assembly hall was just an act. She's been crying. Mion-chan, tell me, what is the Oreo-san gonna do with Shion-chan? She hasn't told me any details. As you know, Granny becomes awfully quiet when she's truly furious. Going into the ritual storehouse, huh? Furthermore, it's her own granddaughter. That's a tough decision to make. Uncle Kimiyoshi thought that the hag must be unsure of what to do with Shion. What do you think? What do you think will happen to Shion? Well, I'm sure it'll be far more than just 3 nails this time. Oh my god, those were like the biggest sneezes. Okay. Whew. These are tight, thank you. Actually, she might be even more harsh. Specifically because they're related. Bless you, thank you. Yeah, she did go to the ritual storehouse. That's not something that can be forgiven so easily. Indeed, it's sacred, after all. But in a way, maybe it's not fair to Shion. She has been away from Hinamizawa, as you know. I'm sure she knew she wasn't supposed to trespass in the ritual storehouse, but I don't think she knew how forbidden it was. It's true. Poor Shion-chan. Other than the tattoo on my back, how would you tell the difference between Shion and me? There isn't one. There's no point in distinguishing between Mion and Shion in the first place. Twins are proof of bad luck. One should be eliminated as soon as they are born. Such is the family present. The hag actually put her hands around my neck right after I came out of the womb. That's how the story went, at least. In the end, the hag didn't kill me, but instead, pretended I just didn't exist. She forced herself to call one of us Mion and the other Shion. She adored Mion and hated Shion. My sister and I never understood why we had to go through that. We didn't care who was Mion or Shion. So one day, we came up with an idea. We decided to share the joy Mion experienced and the sadness Shion experienced. We often switched places. We were both Mion, and at the same time, we were both Shion. Adults around us tried to put different clothes on us, or style our hair differently so they could tell us apart. That was nonsense. No matter what they did, we all had to do was switch places and nobody could tell us apart. Finally, they decided that we switched places because we were always together. So on that day, Shion got to go to an amusement park. Since then, we've been separated. Mion-chan, I can't even imagine what will happen to Shion. Whatever it is Granny decides to do, I'm not in a position to say anything about it. She doesn't listen to her relatives. You're right. That's something Oro-san needs to work on. If Shion wasn't Shion Sonozaki, she would have been dead a long time ago. I can't even begin to imagine what kind of punishment might be equal to death. Even if she isn't killed, she'll probably never see the light of day again. In other words, she'll be demoned away. Mion-chan. Does Shion-chan regret what she has done? Yes. In response, Uncle Kimiyoshi tapped my shoulder and then slapped his own chest. He smiled reliably. Don't worry. If Shion-chan feels bad about what she has done, she won't be demoned away. Leave it to me. Really? I'm sure Oe-san will be furious to hear me say anything, but I won't give up. I'll explain to her that Shion-chan regrets what she has done. I'll beg for her forgiveness. Tears began to fall from my eyes. I knew it. Uncle Kimiyoshi was my ally after all. He said he would forgive Shion. He was my ally. I was so happy. Are you sure? Are you sure she won't be demoned away like Satoshi Hojo was last year? Uncle Kimiyoshi smiled reliably again and told me. He was a brat of the Hojo family. This is Shion-chan of the Sonozaki family we're talking about here. Of course she'll be forgiven. Huh? A brat of the Hojo family? Are you talking about Satoshi-kun? Last year's victim? Those Hojo people. They were traitors who tried to sell out the whole village. Of course he got demoned away. He was a Hojo after all. Huh? 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 The Hojo people should all be cursed. Only people like them get demoned away. Shion-chan will be okay. It won't happen to someone like her. Uncle, didn't Shion take care of that for Satoshi-kun last year? Wasn't he supposed to be forgiven? Take care of that? What do you mean? Remember? 3 nails. She removed 3 of her nails. Kasai-san, Uncle Yoshiro, and Satoshi-kun. 3 people. She removed 3 nails for 3 people. Eh? Oh, so that was why it was 3 nails, huh? Huh? What? Wasn't that the significance of those 3 nails? Yeah, you're right. There were 3 people involved, hence 3 nails. I heard that too. But what? Kasai-san, Yoshiro-san, and Shion-chan. That's 3. What? Huh? What? Huh? What? I endured excruciating pain. The first one was my left pinky, then the ring finger, and then the middle finger. People held me down so I couldn't move, but I endured. I had to endure 3 nails. I didn't know which nail was Satoshi-kun. If my middle finger was for Satoshi-kun, I'd have to endure until the middle finger was done so that Satoshi-kun could have been forgiven. That was why I endured. Even Mion said afterwards, everything was forgiven. Huh? 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 Mion didn't say Satoshi-kun was forgiven? Didn't you? That's what I heard. I think that's what I heard. Or did I? Huh? Eh? Huh? I felt the air move. There shouldn't have been a breeze in that room, but I felt it anyway. The cool air stroked the back of my neck. That was when my true self stood right before me and nodded. Although there was no wind, my hair billowed. The burning wickedness burned deep inside my eyes, became visible. Why do you think Satoshi Hojo-kun got demoned away? Huh? Satoshi-kun's parents did, in fact, try to sell out the village. They deserved the curse of Yashiro-sama. But Satoshi-kun was simply their son. What has he done? Mion-chan? I'm asking what kind of crime Satoshi-kun committed. You said earlier that he deserved to be demoned away because he was born of the Hojo family. What has he done to deserve being demoned away? Kimiyoshi didn't know what to say at the sudden question. He seemed dismayed. I didn't hear her say it, but you know. It was Oryo Sonozaki's decision. She decided that the curse of Yashiro-sama would fall upon all the Hojos. Wait, Mion-chan. That's not true. Didn't she decide that? No, she didn't. The curse of Yashiro-sama falling upon the Hojo family. I do remember talking about something like that, but we never decided that. Nobody did. Then why do you say, because he was one of the Hojos earlier? I'm sorry, Mion-chan. That was... You know, I shouldn't have said it. I'm sorry. That's just it. Anything that happens to the Hojo family is a curse. As long as someone has Hojo's name, nobody cares what happens to that person. That idea has spread like a virus among the villagers. It didn't matter if Satoshi-kun did anything or not. Because he was Hojo, he was filthy. That infection of an idea is the entire problem. And you all believed in that idea. You couldn't even think straight anymore. I can't forgive you. I can't let someone like you exist. People like you cornered Satoshi-kun and his family. Poor Satoshi-kun. What has he done? He hasn't done anything. He was a Hojo and that's all. What kind of crime is that? Why did the curse fall upon him? What kind of crime has he committed? Kimiyoshi's upper body bent backwards and fell into the floor. That was that. Put my stun gun back in my pocket. Sorry, Shion. What was it that you just said? Apparently, Takano-san and Tomotaki-san died last night. Takano-san was found burned to death. Tomotaki-san was... well, it looked like suicide. I found out this morning. I heard my father talking to a relative on the phone about it. As I thought, Keiichi didn't know anything about what happened after the festival last night. Of course, it's not getting reported by the media. That's how it was in the past, too. Keiichi insisted that unless he heard about it on the news, it wouldn't be real. But the investigations into this series of mysterious deaths are done in secret now. Of course he didn't hear about it on the news. I hear the mayor and several important politicians from the Sonozaki family put all the pressure they could on the police. Then you mean their deaths are going to be dealt with in total secrecy? That's how it is. Of course, the police are still investigating. That's being performed in secret too, though. So I hear the investigation itself is very restricted as to what they can and can't do. You could essentially say they're interfering with the police investigation. I can't believe this. People died, and yet they're dealing with everyone in secret? If we break it down further, it means that no matter who dies in the night of Watsunigashi, it won't go public. That's the biggest pile of bullshit I've ever heard. Kei-chan, remember how I said before that the villagers could be the ones carrying out Oyashiro-sama's curse? That's what I mean. At some point, a tradition was created here in Hinamizawa, where every year you are allowed to kill someone on the night of Watsunagashi. Yes, that's the truth about the series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa, also known as Oyashiro-sama's curse. On the day of Watsunagashi, 2 people will be killed. The perpetrators are using the curse of Yashiro-sama as an excuse to kill one victim and make another disappear. That's why the curse of Yashiro-sama takes place. That's what happens in Hinamizawa, and that's what happens to the curse. What Kimiyoshi said is all true. Infecting everyone with the idea that the enemy from the dam conflict deserved to die was the root of all of this. That was the system of vague commands used to the Sonozaki family, created by its head Oryo. One thing that must be mentioned about the command system is that the person giving the orders and the one executing them, it didn't need to interact in any way. Though Oryo was the commander, she never gave actual orders. She only had to expect something to happen. Every single one of the family council members around here would want to satisfy that expectation if given the chance. They didn't have to be proactive about satisfying it. They could be passive too. But when the chance arose, anyone who knew Orio's intentions could potentially become one to execute her orders. Therefore, Oreo would never know who actually executed her order, and none of the relatives knew either. But they all knew things that would conclude just as Oreo wanted, and they could assume it was one of their own who did it for her. This passive support system was thoroughly effective, and it spread all over the village. Its ties became even tighter after the dam conflict. Anyone could be the one to execute Oreo's orders. Therefore, everyone supported each other. If someone did something, then the others would try to satisfy Oreo's expectations in different ways. For example, they'd come up with the false evidence or otherwise passively interfere with an investigation. Even if they didn't know exactly who they were protecting, they'd still work together to protect whoever it was. Yes, I had finally figured out how it all worked. Phrased in one more organizational manner, it would go as follows. The system of killing 2 people who are unwanted in the village each year required 3 elements. The first element was a reign of solidarity. It was created during the long, unique history of Hinamizawa. The villagers' bonds became even tighter during the dam conflict. That was one of the conditions for this place to have a curse. It was an element that are already in the reign, not one that could be created. The next element was having the same moral standards. This was a very important element, as the curse wouldn't have happened without it. Also, this element was created by Oryo Sonozaki herself, and that was why she could claim this system that established by her own will. Having the same moral standards means that everyone, anywhere, acknowledges the same enemy. Even when everyone in the village joined together, it would be meaningless if they didn't know exactly who the enemy was. During the dam conflict, Oryo Sonozaki made the identity of the enemy very clear to everyone. They couldn't just say that they were against the dam construction and that the government was their enemy. That wasn't clear enough. The government didn't really pinpoint who the enemy was. But Oryo made their enemies out of the construction site itself, and therefore its manager. She chose targets that the villagers could see with their own eyes. They were clear and easy to understand. The villagers acknowledged that everyone at the dam construction site was an enemy, and that the construction site manager was an enemy commander. Using the same method, she labeled one after another as an enemy of the village, practically cataloging a list of enemies to print on the villagers' minds. Earlier, I had to use the term infecting for this phenomenon. Those infected by the idea were the people unconsciously giving the orders to commit murder. When the infection spread across the village, when all of Hinamizawa's residents acknowledged the same enemy, that's when Hinamizawa itself became a murderer. Oryo combined those 2 elements, a solidarity reign and having the same moral standards. Then selected the enemy and spread the notion throughout the village. The law would normally have punished both the one who committed the crime and the one who gave the order. But Oryo's system didn't require an order at all. Oryo just had to become concerned about the enemy that she had pre-selected. But that alone didn't cause the curse to take place. Oryo's concern was like a safety device, and even when the safety device was off, the curse wouldn't occur unless there was a finger to pull the trigger. The last necessary element was to set a date for the execution. The night of Watanagashi. the night to venerate Oyashiro-sama, the garden deity of Hinamizawa. On that night, the curse Oyashiro-sama falls upon two enemies of the village and they disappear. Everyone in the village acknowledged that was fact. In other words, if the same incident took place on any of the other 364 nights of the year, it would be nothing other than a murder case. But if it happened on the night of Watsunegashi, then it would transform into the curse of Oyashiro-sama. The idea that the villagers are allowed to kill their enemies on the night of Watsunegashi had infected them. The villagers were the cells of this huge creature called Hinamizawa, and each cell would be taught who the enemy was. The set date was basically a green light for whoever was in the best position to kill the enemy. That was the truth of the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Therefore, the one who actually killed Satoshi-kun isn't my enemy. The one who set up this murderous system, and the one who named Satoshi-kun's family as an enemy, is my enemy. To use a broader definition, Hinamizawa itself, and the very system of Oyashiro-sama's curse, is my enemy. I already killed the hag, the one who designed the system. Kimiyoshi, the one whose job it was to infect the villagers in the system, was already in my hands. I just had to find out who else was involved and how much. It was like pulling a weed while being very careful not to break the roots. I announced that Keiichi Maibara was one of the people who snuck into the shrine storage. I was certain that the fact had already spread throughout the inside side of the village. In other words, Keiichi Maibara was an object of the curse of Oyashiro-sama now. Takano-san and Toмотaki-san were found dead, having been killed in gruesome ways. That was the curse of Oyashiro-sama. In that case, they could demon away two more people as sacrifices to calm the anger of Oyashiro-sama. The set date for the curse was already over. But just like what happened to Satoshi-kun, demoning away was allowed to be a little bit extra time. Something would happen to Keiichi Maibara within a few days. I'd wait patiently, careful not to let my enemy imply that Keiichi Maibara my bait. Keiichi had been yelling at the other end of the phone for some time. He kept yelling and didn't want to go into the ritual storehouse to begin with. He claimed he was simply invited by Takano-san and me. He shouldn't be in danger because of that, he said. He was feeling a sense of crisis and tension. This was going to work. The livelier the bait, the easier it is to spot. Why the hell did you do that? I didn't have anything to do with this. What will you do? What are you gonna do, damn it? How are you gonna take responsibility for this, huh? Hey, are you listening? Shut up. I've heard enough of your pitiful tears. I hung up the phone. There was no point in talking to him when he got like that. Besides, I'd already achieved my goal, which was to make him realize the danger awaiting him. I took a deep breath and then called the house of the village chief. Hello? Kimiyoshi residence? This is Sonozaki. So, did you find the mayor? Oh, it's you, Mion-chan. Oh, we've been calling everyone, but no luck. We can't find him. I don't know who else to call. Oh, I wonder where he is. We've called a few places too, but nothing. I talked to Granny. She says we should have the youth group look for him. At this time of day? Besides, we aren't even sure if he's really missing. It's right after Watsunegashi. She just thinks we should be cautious. If the youth group can't find him, then we should call the police first thing in the morning. We'd rather not get the police involved unless we really have to, though. Did Oreo-san say that? Yes. If you don't believe me, I'll have to get her on the phone. Oh, no. I understand. Okay, we'll gather the youth group and go look for him. If they can't find him, we'll call the police in the morning. Please call the leader of the youth group then. I'll be right over in Granny's place. Thank you. I'll get everyone together right away. Okay, I'll see you later. The youth group had gathered at the Furude Shrine. They were going to go try and find the mayor. I also had to go, in absence of the hag. Just to be mean, I stopped by the underground torture room just to let the mayor know that I was headed to the Furude Shrine in search of him. Incidentally, according to the tab on the keychain, this underground torture room actually called the underground storehouse for ritual implements. This was the man who was yelling at whoever trespasses onto ritual storehouse should be killed. Although it was now underground ritual storehouse, he was there now, atoning for what he had done. It was pretty ironic. Maybe I was the only one who felt that way, though. How you doing, Uncle Kimiyoshi? Clink. Kimiyoshi didn't say a word, but he made a noise with the chain. Everyone's making such a fuss because they can't find you. Your family called me, so I suggested they gather the youth group and go look for you. I'm heading over there now. Was this mean or what? Kimiyoshi could only make a noise with the chain. He couldn't even express any emotion other than anguish. Is the chain too short? Why don't I make it longer every time you give me an answer to a question? If it's even a little longer, you'll feel better. Kimiyoshi's hands were tied behind his back with a tight wire. He was wearing a leather collar with a chain, which was strapped tightly around his neck. The collar's chain was on a pulley attached to the ceiling, and the chain pulling it upward. The chain was very short and pulled very tight. Kimiyoshi had to stand on his tiptoes to be able to breathe. He had been like that for almost an hour already. He was already exhausted. If I left him overnight, he'd probably end up hanging himself. You told me earlier that you didn't know, but I'll ask you one more time. Please tell me anything you know about Satoshi Hojo-kun. Oh, sorry. You can't even talk, can you? I'll loosen the chain a little bit so we can chat then. I turned the pulley just a little to loosen the chain that was pulling Kimiyoshi's neck. Kimiyoshi's heels finally touched the ground, relieving the pressure on his muscles. I really don't know, Shion-chan. I really don't. Don't you even know if he's dead or alive? I really don't know anything. Said super fun little scramble trying to find my earbuds. I'm sorry. Sorry, I had to call an ambulance because your beauty made me fall for it. I know, I'm sorry. It was so loud. It's never that loud, I swear. Only during book club when I want the atmosphere ominous and silent. Well, I guess that's how the curse system works in Hinamizawa. It's possible you really don't know anything. Okay, I'll change the question. As the head of the Kimiyoshi family, I would like you to tell me what you think has happened to Satoshi-kun. Generally, I thought that was the case. You'd be like that, but it's okay. I just thought it was on my head. Thank you. Is Satoshi-kun dead or alive? Kimiyoshi didn't know what to say. If he said he didn't know, I'd tighten the chain and leave the room. That would be like a death sentence for him. But all I said was I wanted him to speak as the head of the Kimiyoshi family. I didn't ask him to tell the truth. But he didn't know what to say to avoid souring my mood and to get me to loosen the chains around him. He was obviously trying to figure out how to make me extend the chain. I heard a rumor he may be alive. Ah, him going to Tokyo on a bullet train, right? The police. I've seen him in Tokyo or something like that. Oh, she had told me that Satoshi-kun had been witnessed getting on a bullet train and heading to Tokyo and Nagoya Station. But the police didn't know if it really happened or what became of Satoshi-kun after that. Therefore, this was simply a random assertion of Kimiyoshi's. Hey, head of the Kimiyoshi family. What would be the point of letting one of the cursed family members live after going through the trouble of making them disappear? I don't think there's any reason for that. Besides, who gave you this information? I was in close contact with Oishi for a while, but he never mentioned that to me. Uncle? If you're just saying that to make me happy, it's not gonna work. You know that, don't you? I reached for the pulley controlling the chains around Kimiyoshi, and that act alone sent him panicking as he feared that I was tightening them once more. Sorry, I'm not trying to make you angry, Shion-chan, I'm sorry. I don't have time for this. I'm simply asking you to help me look for Satoshi-kun, that's all. I know that. I'll answer you. I took my hand off the pulley. Seeing that, Kimiyoshi began making loud groaning noises to try and show me he was thinking hard. Be frank with me. Do you think he is alive or dead? I think you shouldn't think he's alive. That figures. There's no point in letting him live, right? I agree with you. I really didn't mean anything too deep by it, but what I said truly scared Kimiyoshi. The police think he ran using the money he saved to buy Satoko's birthday present, because he was the main suspect of his aunt's murder. What do you think about that? Well, I heard the culprit was some kind of drug addict. What do you think about that? Oh, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I believe Satoshi-kun is the culprit. The drug addict was probably a decoy that the hag had arranged. I've suspected as much. That guy appeared out of nowhere. I didn't understand it at the time. So he was a decoy. I'm pretty sure. Why do you think that, though? The police were investigating the case, and Satoshi-kun was their primary suspect, wasn't he? If he was going to be demoned away, she didn't want the police to continue the investigation, I guess. What Kimiyoshi just said was very interesting. He's perfectly correct. The police continued their investigation. It would complicate things for whoever demoned away Satoshi-kun. Therefore, the hag came up with a decoy in order to bring an end to the investigation. But fabricating a suspect can't be that easy, don't you agree? The only person who can do things like that is Oryo-san. I knew the hag was very powerful in the underside of Nyamizawa, but I never knew she was that powerful. I'm sure you've heard quite a few rumors during the dam conflict. Didn't you also hear things directly? During the dam protests, I actually saw them issuing orders to my relatives, like, destroy their heavy machinery, or can we set up a checkpoint to blockade their construction vehicles? They set free their comrades from the police by coming up with alibis, destroying or forging evidence. I had seen relatives do those things, as well as the hag calling in counselors to the house to protest. As a child, I was pretty impressed, but when I thought back, it was more than that. She was truly the mastermind who controlled the underside of the world. You've heard about it. The kidnapping case of the grandson of the Minister of Construction, right? So it was really a kidnapping, huh? I heard the grandson was demoned away and then found in the middle of the mountains in the Takasuro or the Yaguchi. That was at Oryo-san's command. The minister promised to stop the dam construction, so the grandson was released. All the top people in the ex-guardians know that. I guess I was right in the middle of it when it was happening and I just didn't notice. The hag, the three families, the ex-guardians are truly magnificent, huh? How terrifying. Kimiyoshi finally realized the situation he was in, and he was answering my questions. That made me happy, but the more Kimiyoshi told the truth, the more I realized Satoshi-kun really was dead. That made me very sad. Who actually demoned away Satoshi-kun? I don't know. We were never to ask who actually executes Oryo-san's orders. He was right. That was how the system worked. And so, that was a bad question. Whoever it was did a great job. Because his body hasn't been found. That's not easy. Putting aside who actually killed him, is it possible Oryo-san has helped to get rid of the body? You know about the well further down from here. The one used to dump bodies, don't you? Yeah, I do. It's a lot safer to dump a body in the well than to bury it somewhere in the mountains. Whoever disappears becomes a sacrifice to calm the anger of Yashiro-sama. That was the rule of this game. Therefore, the bodies must never be discovered. That's why the bodies had to be dumped somewhere nobody could find them. It's very possible the well was used for that. Then, Satoshi-kun is at the bottom of that well? I grabbed the flashlight and headed to the huge cave with the cells. As I turned on the lights in the cave, Mio noticed me and gave me a worried look. I ignored her and headed to the cell in the back. It was still very impressed by how the well was hidden. It was almost artistic. I shone the flashlight at the bottom of the well. I had no way of knowing how deep the well was. The light of the flashlight wasn't strong enough to reach the bottom. I inhaled, then screamed into the well. Satoshi-kun! Satoshi-kun! Satoshi-kun's name echoed again and again. It was obviously a very deep well. I thought of climbing down using the wedges on the wall, but with the flashlight hanging from my neck, I couldn't light my footing properly. And even if there wasn't enough lighting, I didn't know if the wedges were sturdy enough. It would be like committing suicide. Satoshi-kun was at the bottom of this well. That's when I felt it. A warm hand rubbed my head, for sure. Shion, you finally found me. Satoshi-kun. 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 I've been looking for you for so long. I'm sorry. I couldn't find you while you were still alive. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's not your fault, Shion. There was nothing you could have done when I was killed. But you did everything you could do after I was dead. Satoshi-kun, I want to join you. I'm coming right now. I'm gonna jump, so just please catch me. Satoshi-kun smiled bitterly. I was saddened to see him reject me. Shion, I'm happy that you found me. But you're alive, Shion. It's so important to be alive. You can't waste it. If you aren't here, I don't want to live. I want to be with you, Satoshi-kun. I want to be close to you. I want you to rub my head again. I want to spend time with you. I'll be a good girl. I want to be with you. Live. Do I have to? Live and enjoy your life, okay? What's so fun about living alone? You'll find out, so long as you're alive. To live. I will live. I will live. The eerie well now felt warm. I wasn't allowed to go down to the bottom, but the edge of this well was the place where you and I could meet. Mion. Satoshi-kun. I found him. He's at the bottom of the well, isn't he? I think so. I can't think of anywhere else he'd be. Mion started to sob. You weren't there when Satoshi-kun was killed, were you? No. If you were there, would you have begged the hag to forgive him? Yes. I would have begged her to let him live. Liar. Huh? You liar! On that day, a year ago, I had just recalled how cruel Mion was then. When she forced me to rip out my nails, acting in her role as successor. Even if she was there when Satoshi-kun was killed, she wouldn't have stopped from being the successor. Satoshi-kun was brought to the torture room. When he saw Mion, I'm sure he thought she would save him. Even as he heard the family reach out with his death sentence, I'm sure he looked at Mion and believed that she would save him. He believed Mion was acting the way only because she was their relative. He believed that she would help him, but she didn't do anything. He was strapped to a restraining device, yet she still wouldn't do anything. Mion was cruel. Mion? Isn't it about time to help me? I see. I get it. You're with the rest of the family members, so you can't show even a hint of compassion. That sucks. Help him! Help him! Why? Why didn't you help him? You saw him looking at you, begging to help him, didn't you? Why didn't you help him? Even when he was going through a rough time because of that awful aunt, you didn't help him. You pretended to sympathize, but you didn't help him. You ignored him. He was cornered because you didn't help him. I tried. I tried to support him. Even when you didn't protect him from killing his aunt, I did. I sacrificed myself to fight for him. 3 nails were nothing. But it wasn't enough to rescue Satoshi-kun. I couldn't help him. Do you know why? Because I was Shion then. As Shion, I was kept away from Hinamizawa and nobody told me anything. I couldn't know anything. But you were different. You were Mion. You were right in the middle of everything, and you knew everything, and everyone told you everything. If I were you, I could have helped Satoshi-kun. I would have. But you were Mion. Give it back, Mion. That name isn't yours. It's mine, too. Besides, it was mine to begin with, remember? I just let you be Mion, remember? It was mine. So give it back to me. Give me back my name. I can't stand that you even look like Mion. If I were Mion, then... Ah! I kicked the bars. I kicked them again and again. Mion curled up fearfully in the back of the cell, as if she were trying to prevent the bars from crashing down on her. Mion was cruel. So, Shion, what were you doing with Kiyoshi there? Yeah. Oof. Whew. Achievement unlocked. Get this little savey diddly do in there. Ah, alright, how we feeling? How we feeling? How we doing? That was something. Yeah, don't worry. It can only get worse. That was really emotional. It was. I tried my best. I tried not to, like, actually scream. I really wanted to when she was calling Mion a liar. I really wanted to just belt it out, but I'm like, nah, I gotta hold back. I saw it, like, still, like, peaked in the red, so I'm sorry if that hurt your ears. This chapter was red as fuck. Hell yeah, it was. I love Shion so much. I love her. God. Oh, God. Oh, it's so good. Shion's such a cool character. Thought for a second there that Shion was going to drop herself into the well and be like, Mion's dead in the well from 3 weeks prior, and it was actually Shion. We are getting closer. It should be starting to come together for you guys. How the fuckery in book 2, how it all came to pass. You should be starting to be able to put it together based on what Shion's doing here. I mean, I think it's pretty much... Yeah, I mean, I think she said it herself even. I guess I'll just play both. So there's a huge clue for you at the beginning there when she was on the phone. She's like, I guess I'll be Mion and Shion right now. Doesn't help that I was gone for half it doing laundry. Ah, shit. Well, watch the VOD. I'm sure you'll figure it out. But yeah, we still got 3 chapters now? We got 3 chapters now that we gotta read. And then we'll be done with the 5th book. How exciting. So yeah. Oh my god, just 3 more chapters. Exciting. I know for a fact that there's a much more gruesome thing that she's gonna do to a different character in a little bit here. I'm so sure it happens in this book, and I'm so excited to read it. Should have figured out. Too late. I already know it's time travel. Stop. Amazing chapter. Yay, thank you. Alright, guys. I will be wrapping up here. My throat hurts, and I ran out of water. I have to go get more water. Stop. Alright. Yeah, thank you for the stream. Thank you for coming. Oh my gosh, yes, guys. Thank you so much for always coming and hanging out for book club. I appreciate all of you. And I love doing book club. I like reading visual novels. Especially Higurashi, of course. Ah, shit. Thank you. Bless me. Sorry. Happy whenever I hear you read. Aw, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Next stream, salute, thank you. Next stream will be, holy shit, stop it out there, what the fuck? Stop. Do you think that oh shit, yes, more plausible, stop! Gazoon tight, thank you. Next stream will be tomorrow. We're playing Genshin, because I got Genshin earworms, yay! I don't know what it is, but like I've been really getting back into it. God damn it, guys. So next stream will be Genshin tomorrow, and then Wednesday another Genshin stream, and then that's it for the week. Oh god. Just I have a bunch of shit going on and a bunch of art stuff I want to work on, and there's just a bunch of stuff going on, so yeah. I know normally it's just like one more stream, but it feels like, oh my god, we went from like having 4 nights a week to just 3. Oh my god, it's such a huge jump, but it's not. But anyway. Okay, guys. I hope I can see you in the next one. If I don't see you then, I'll see you when I see you. Y'all have a good night, a good evening, and bye-bye. Veilguards dismissed. Hey.